Hey guys, Dan Hood, Big DH 2000, however you want to call me again. This is a second sanding video. I showed you the palm oscillating orbital sander, whatever you want to call it. Every once in a while, you get that slingshot, I guess you could say, it's got a pinky hole or it's got some unusual hole like this. This one's reasonably big, so you could probably get that on a spindle sander if you had a fine enough spindle. But a lot of times spindle sanders, it's really hard to find. About 220 is the finest grit they usually have for spindles. You can occasionally find 320 and sometimes 400 or 600, but they get rarer and rarer after 220. But anyway, a trick I learned a long time ago. If you've got like a drill press or even a handheld drill, it doesn't matter. It just has to have a good chuck and spin. You could take any old dowel, okay? You can see I've cut a groove in it. The groove, I mean, look, if you look at this closely, the groove doesn't even have to be straight. I mean, it'd be a little crooked, whatever. I've also got a 1/2 inch metal one, okay? I've got a 1/4 inch dowel, and you can see I've actually got a piece of t-shirt on this, or terry cloth, because I was using it to buff. What you do is just grab whatever grit sandpaper you want, however deep you've cut the groove or whatever, just fold the sandpaper over kind of like this, slide it in, okay? Now remember, drills normally spin like this. They spin counterclockwise, okay? So you want to make sure that the best surface of the sandpaper ends up on the outside. When it spins counterclockwise, it's going to roll up like this, okay? You want to make sure the best surface is to the outside, okay? If you're having trouble, you can always put a rubber band on the bottom or just tie it with a little TheraBand Gold. I usually don't bother. I just put it in except when I'm using the t-shirt. Now remember, whatever drill press you have, all chucks have a maximum size. My drills right here are 1/2 inch, so the biggest dowel I can kind of put in is a 1/2 inch. This rod is a 1/2 inch, or this tube that I use is a 1/2 inch. I think this one's 3/8, and this one's 1/4 inch. Set it to a reasonable speed. I usually keep mine around between 1600 and 2000 RPM. Okay, now as always, I'm working with Corian, so see you guys on the other side. Just watch what I do. case you couldn't precisely see what I was doing, first I cleaned the inside out. I held it straight. And as you can see, the best part about this is you put enough sandpaper on, you just tear pieces off as they wear out, because it will wear out fast. That's just the way it is, because this isn't machine grade sandpaper. You can buy machine grade sandpaper if you want that lasts longer. It doesn't, but as you can see, you put any grit you want in here and use it. First, I did the inside smooth and vertical, okay? Then what I was doing is I was rounding the sharp edges of this corner. That wears the sandpaper down really fast, so do that last. Once you've got the inside clean with this grit, then do the little bit of rounding. You're still going to have a light edge, but you can just lightly touch that up by hand later. But in the meantime, here, I'll let you see it under the light. You can see it's pretty smooth in there, okay? And I'll just progressively go down the grits. I normally don't go much past 320. On all the machines, I can do 320, and then what I usually do is I take the 400 or the 600 by hand, just lightly wet sand everywhere, you know, find those few blemishes that are left, take them out. And for those who don't know, this is actually 220 everywhere. You can see I've already finished shaping this thing and smoothing it up, okay? Next, I'll go to 320. Once I'm done with 320, I do the wet sand lightly. Then what I do is I dry it off and I let it sit out for a bit. I look at it, make sure I've got everything I wanted to get. You know, maybe if there's a little thing I need to clean up, if I think I can do it with 320, I do it. If I can't, if I think it's a little more severe than that, I'll pull out the 220. But I almost never go back to the 80 grit or the 36 grits or anything like that unless there's something hugely wrong or I drop it and damage it and have to do a whole bunch of reshaping, okay? Then, you know, you once again just lightly touch that area up with 320 after the 220 and the 400. And then once you're all done, then comes the polishing. So when I get to polishing, I'll show you guys that in a separate video. Take care, guys.